Hey guys, we are back with week number 2 of the story. Well, it's not week 2, it's week 2 with us, but it's week 9?
8.
Lesson 8 of the story.
Now, little side note, it's because we actually did 6 last time, but we also did most of 7.
Yeah, we covered a lot of 7 and 6, so we're just gonna go over to 8.
Yeah.
And we'll try to stay in 8.
Which is more live with the way we're going through it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were behind. But anyway, so this is week 8.
We are very happy and encouraged by everyone who is interested in this little series, and yeah, I hope you guys, and I know someone had said they're going to go on Amazon and try to get the book, so maybe if you guys are interested in joining us, you can definitely, try to get yourself a copy of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This story. Go ahead.
So, this week, the title is A Few Good Men and Women.
Mm-hmm.
And, so to start off, I'm going to give you a quick little, intro recap into the parts of the story that lead up to the main part. We're in the book of Judges this week, and this story takes place after Joshua died. If you guys recall from our last one, Joshua was the one who eventually got the people to the land, and after the whole spying situation. So after Joshua passed away, people of Israel were just like, hey, so who's gonna, take over now? Who's gonna lead us? Mm-hmm. And in that, they went through a cycle of faithfulness and disobedience in a way with God. So they'd be like, now we're serving God, we're spiritual, something would happen, the judge would die, and they'd just kind of go back to serving pagan gods. So in that time, through their downward spiral, they went through a lot of judges, actually, a lot. They went through Othniel, Ehud, Shagnar, Deborah and Barak, Gideon and Abimelech, Tola and Jair, Jephthah, Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon. Yeah, that's a lot of people to rule, and it was just they could never just find one. Now, in that list, we had, I think, Gideon, and he was one of the good ones that came out, because a lot of the judges did end up being corrupt, or just, they couldn't stay faithful to God, or hold their position with character. That's going to be an important point later. So, eventually, we find ourselves with Samson. And he's the kind of main focus of what kind of takes place towards the latter chapters of Judges.
Yay, it's my turn. So Samson is an interesting character in the Bible in that he's born into this family as, a God-believing family where he's, from birth, he's been sworn with this so-called Nazirite vow.
Yeah.
And basically that is...
It was actually pre-birth, in the womb. His mother had already, kind of like how, the angel came upon Mary. The same kind of thing took place with Samson. Mm-hmm. The angel came upon his mother and said, the son that you're going to give birth to is going to be a Nazirite. So while you're pregnant, no drinking, they're just, start following the Nazirite vows.
That's just a good thing to do regardless. But anyway, so the Nazirite vow only has 3 rules and that you have to abide by. One is don't touch a dead body. It doesn't seem like that hard of a rule.
Well, back then it might have been because there was a lot of violence and death.
Yeah, but anyway, don't touch a dead body. Second one is, cannot drink any wine. So, alcohol free, and because not just wine, is fermented drinks, all that. And then the third...
And don't even go to the vineyard, he wasn't allowed to touch them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even the grapes, I don't think, actually, even. And then the third one was, cannot cut his hair. So basically, those are 3 rules that he's supposed to live by as for his entire life, to be devoted to God and to complete this Nazirite vow. So, not overly... Not
too
difficult,
crazy.
Pretty devotional.
But it is difficult, I guess, a little bit in that time.
Right.
To not touch a dead body and not drink any wine or touch any fermented grapes. Because, I remember we were reading today, there was a point in the story where a woman or a man asked the lady, he's like, I'm thirsty, give me some water. What did she bring him? Wine. So it was just,
Bad service all around. So Samson is actually, he's born, he's this phenomenal specimen of a man. He's just...
What a description. Phenomenal specimen. I love that. Go on. I love that.
Anyway, he's built like me, just 6'5", 240, just jacked all over. And so he's just, you know, a big guy. He's tremendous strength upon him. And so kind of he walks down the street and people kind of look and are like, oh my God, like that's wild.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so he's just abundantly strong. And so during his maybe teenage or early 20s years kind of thing, he goes to another neighborhood, so to speak. He went to the Philistines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he goes to the Philistines and he sees a woman there. She's beautiful, and he comes home to mom and dad and says, hey Ma, hey Dad,
Go get her for
make
me.
her my wife. Yeah, that's on you now.
Yeah.
And so back in the day, you know, arranged marriages are common, but it was
and not only that, you, regardless, arranged or not, you marry within your people.
Your own kind, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so, but it was very uncommon for the son to kind of tell the parents, like, what to arrange.
Yeah.
So they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, can you not find someone, you know, kind of in town?
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying. And he's just like,
yeah.
nope, you know what, you
want her.
guys just, zip it. Like,
Yeah.
I know what I want. So, so that's what he decides. What do they do?
So then they're like, I guess we're going to have to give him what he wants.
Gave in.
They gave in to that. So they went with Samson on this journey to go get the girl to the land of the Philistines. And on their way there was, you know, encountered a lion. And Samson was just like, I got this.
Well, the parents weren't there.
The parents weren't there, but this was like kind of their journey. They were like to the side a bit. They weren't, physically with him in that moment when he encountered the lion. I'm going to guess maybe they were sleeping, went to go pee or something. I don't know. But for some reason they weren't together that
I don't
moment.
even think they were on the same trip, but that's okay.
They were on the same trip.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sorry.
Anyway, so saw this lion and he's just like, I'm going to kill it. I got this. Killed it with his bare hands. Now remember the first rule of the Nazarite? Thou shalt not touch a dead body. First time he's breaking the law.
No, you didn't even really break it there.
Yeah, I guess he just kind of killed it.
Yeah, like, a lion's attacking you.
Yeah.
He killed it. Okay. And
But
they
what
walked
he did
away.
was, that he left, and then as he was
On the way back.
going back, he's just like, hey, there's honey. There are a bunch of bees inside the lion's carcass, and there's honey there. I'm going to go get it.
Which, I don't know why bees are inside a lion's carcass. That didn't make much sense to me. But anyway, there was a swarm of bees, and they had honey. So what did he do?
So he reached inside the lion.
Yeah, he did. No, I'm shaking my head to Samson.
And he's just like, honey. Grabs it all.
Just
and eats some honey.
And
eat honey?
Yes, you eat honey.
Okay. And then he goes home and gifts them to his parents.
Which is why I don't think they were on the same trip. I'm just saying. Anyway, don't.
Regardless. Anyway,
yes.
So gives them to his parents, didn't tell them where it was from or whatever, and just kind of kept it moving.
Yeah, so the parents are none the wiser, but he totally Winnie Pooh'd that. Winnie the Pooh'd that bear, or that lion. Damn! Anyway, so breaks rule number 1.
Yeah, so then he goes back to the woman, because they had a feast for him, because he's getting married, and as we've come to, this feast is kind of like a bachelor party that lasted 7 days. So from this, he went to people and just like, hey guys, I have a little puzzle for you. See if you can solve it. And what did he say?
Well, just slightly before that.
Okay.
In preparation for this feast, and part of this feast is alcohol.
Yes.
So as Lennon said, it is like a bachelor party kind of thing. So fermented wine, or fermented grapes all over. So lots of wine and all that was around. Yes. But the next thing was so he proposed a riddle to all the ladies who were there, all the men, basically everybody who was there, all the companions, and he said,
what is sweeter than honey?
Yeah.
And what is stronger? No, that's not it. That's the answer. Sorry. Whoa! I give you guys the answer. It's out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. Well, they're supposed to go figure this out, and whoever, if they could figure it out before the 7 days, then he would give them 30 new pieces of clothing. And if they couldn't figure it out by the 7th day, they had to give him 30 new pieces of clothing.
Right. And that kind of wager amount was kind of equivalent to like almost like a year's salary, apparently. So people think.
That's a lot.
Yeah, very significant
wager.
No
one wants to lose that.
Which it's like, why'd you make the bet? But anyway, let's not worry about that right now.
Yeah. So by the 4th day, they couldn't figure it out. So they're like, hey, Samson's wife, come here for a second. You're like our sister. Go talk to your husband and
help us out.
Help us out. Get the answer from him and come back and tell us. So she went to Samson and was like, hey, tell me the
me.
answer. Like,
Come on.
I'm going to get married and, you say you love me and trust me, but you're not telling me. Did you come to steal from my family? Like, what's up with that?
So he ignores her.
He ignores her.
But she presses.
Of
and
course,
he ignores
as,
her.
true to a woman's nature.
Yeah. And so eventually by the 7th day, he gives in and,
yes,
and he
because she
tells her.
cried for every single day of the feast. She was just like, oh my gosh, you don't love me. So he eventually got tired of that.
Yeah, so he gives in, he tells her the answer, and what do you know it, she goes and tells the family. Yeah. So then they go to tell Samson, they have the answer, and they say the answer.
And Samson had to give them, the
answer.
The answer is what is sweeter than honey and what is stronger than a lion.
Exactly. So it was the honey of the lion, in the lion.
Yeah.
Thing. So, so they got the answer. So Samson, irate.
Yeah.
Just like that.
He had a temper on him.
So what does he do?
So he was just like, this is annoying, I'm pissed off. So he goes in anger and just, I don't know, what does he do? He goes back to his father's place.
No, he goes down into the town and he murders 30 people.
Yep.
And he steals their clothes and then gives them to the people who made the bet.
To the people who made the bet.
So, he paid his bet. So
but
I guess
that's not really the honorable way to do it. So they're pissed off that he did that. And he's pissed off.
I don't even think they cared.
They were mad because they took his wife and now gave his wife to one of the companions after he left. Right. So then he came back, a couple of days later, whatever. He's like, I'm going to go see my wife. And he gets there and they're like, what do you mean you want to see your wife? Like, we gave her to a companion. You can have her sister if you want. She's prettier than her. Samson got more pissed off. He wasn't having that. So now I was like, I'm really going to show them. So what does he do? He goes and I think he burned, So he burned like all their stuff. Yeah. Burned down the town pretty much. It's just like, this is ridiculous and whatever. So now again we have pissed off Samson. Why are you taking the book away?
Because you keep reading.
Sorry.
We've already read it.
Go ahead then.
So days go on kind of thing, and Samson basically is now out and about, but now people, there is some feud. There's an hatred towards Samson. Samson has a hatred towards others at this point. And he goes into this town, I'm not sure the name, and he sees
another pretty woman
who happens to be a prostitute. And so he decides to lay with her because that's just a wise idea. And while he's with her, the townspeople are plotting against him and ready to kind of get him.
Yeah, vengeance really.
Yeah, but he sneaks out early, but she's too pretty, so he comes back. So he comes back again and again, and kind of, I guess, does he marry her? Okay, so he marries her. Man. So he marries her, or at least definitely gets pretty serious with her. And then she is wondering how he's just so damn strong. Yeah. Like, he's so powerful. Where does it all come from? Like, Samson, I want to know.
Yeah. And then the people of the town kind of spoke to her. They're like, hey, you know what? If you can get Samson to tell us what's going on with his strength, and if you can bring him to us or let us subdue him, we'll give you 11,000 shekels of silver. That's a lot.
Sounds like a lot of money.
That's a lot now. Someone give you 11,000 now, and that's shekels of silver.
I don't even know.
So back then, that's a lot more. Yeah. Yeah, because Judas betrayed Jesus for 40. So 11,000 is a lot. So so she's like, all right, deal. I got this. I can do it. So she starts, seducing him every day, and she's like, hey there, stud.
Where's your power?
Yeah.
And so the first night he tells her if you just need the right rope, basically. It has to be dried, so it has to be damp rope or whatever. Cheating again. Has to be rope that's never been dried, and if you tie me up in that, I'll never be able to break out of it. So what does she do? She ties him up. And then she's like, hey, Samson, get over here. And then he's just like, what? And he just breaks out of it. Yeah. And she's like, damn it. Like, why'd you lie to me?
She's like, you made a fool of me.
Yeah. So the next night, she asks him again, like, hey, how can we subdue you, kind of thing.
And she said, the seven fresh bowstrings.
He said it.
Yeah, he said that, 7 fresh bowstrings, and I'll become a weak man like every other person.
So she does that. She ties him up, and then she's like, hey, Samson, come over here. And he's just like, what? It's just no big deal, and he just snaps right out of it. So then he's like, you need to
take my hair, the 7 braids of my hair, and weave it into fabric. And once you do that, I'll become weak.
So what does she do? She does that. So she ties him up in that, and then she's like, Samson, get over here. And he's like, what?
Yep.
And just, no, again and again and again. So then finally...
At this point, she pulls out the guilt card.
Yeah.
She's like, how can you say you love me and you don't trust me, you don't confide in me, you don't tell me the truth? And she goes on and on and on, and really...
When, time out, he's telling her all these things and then she's completely betraying him. But that's beside the point, apparently. Go on.
Yeah, so she goes on like this day after day until she literally he was sick to death. And he was just like, you know what, fine. This is what you do.
And he's like, my hair, never been cut. That's where all my power comes from.
Yep, I was born a Nazarite and I've been vowed to that. So if you cut off my hair, that's it.
So what does she do? Cuts off his hair. Man, like...
She gets him... Obviously, these things don't just happen. She's not just like, hey, Samson, okay.
Sure, yeah.
You know, she'll seduces him and puts him to sleep. And then...
Does it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and then does that. So this time around, she cuts off his hair.
And sure enough, that was the source of...
And then she's just like, hey, Samson, the Philistines are here to get you. He's like, okay. Thinking he's got this.
He's like, I can't get out. Because she tied him up in, like, probably some thread or something, and he's just like, oh no!
Yeah.
So sure enough, it was the source of his power, and all the people that he'd angered came in and got him, and they gouged his eyes out.
That was the very first thing they did.
Mm-hmm. Which is ironic, because
that's what led him to all this trouble, is...
Yeah, first with the Philistine woman who, you know, she's not kind of part of his clan, so that was not allowed.
Yeah.
And then the prostitute next, and so his eyes got him into the trouble, and you know
they gouged them out.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they took him to their prison or whatever, imprisoned him, and then had him perform for them every day. Mm-hmm. And so in the process of doing that, Samson, that revenge just never leaves him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I have to revenge, like I have to get my, my vengeance on them. This isn't fair. So he decides that you know what, I'm gonna just pray to God one last time. Like, just give me strength one more time to take this. And he does. And they take him out for one day to perform. So he whispers to the servant, and he's just like, hey, put me by the pillars so that I can lean and just kind of rest on it a little bit. Yeah. So the servant does that. So he gets between the pillars. This is the famous image that we see of Samson, is him holding the two pillars and pushing it and breaking down the temple. So that's where that image comes from. So Samson does that, and in doing that, he kills almost the entire town of the Philistines, and
he killed more people when he was when dying than when he was alive. And he was a badass when he was alive.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. So that was the end of Samson.
Yes.
And
so he did free the Israelites from Philistines, but in death and not in life.
And not exactly a great judge. It was supposed to be. Not a good role model of a judge.
So, in our lesson of Samson, I guess we'll just kind of give you guys a downfall of Samson and just a lesson to take out of the story. So, we have four lessons, to take from Samson's downward spiral. The first one being... Actually, let's just say the main theme here is character with gifts. Those are the two main things to take out of this. So the first one is he compensated his lack of character with gifts and talents. So character in something, let's start off with him finding his first wife. Mm-hmm. Character in the situation like that would demand him to sort of have some kind of respect for his parents. And maybe listen to them a bit. Maybe try to find a woman that is a God-fearing woman. I mean, you are a Nazarite, so you shouldn't just be sleeping with any pagan worshiper in a way. Mm-hmm. So maybe, something like that, being disciplined in a way to not just be like, what my eye sees is what I want.
Right.
So something like that, he compensated, because he's like, you know what, I'm Samson. Like, I'm the greatest, so of course she wants me. It's not a choice. Like, go get her.
Okay.
Why are you laughing? So that's the first one.
It's a summary.
Okay. Secondly, he let pride show his entitlement while deafening his ears to the counsel of others. Mm-hmm. So, same idea. Parents were counseling him. Others were counseling him. Yeah. Hey, Samson, how about, just let the vengeance go. No. He wasn't having that, because he was like, I can do it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm strong enough. I can take vengeance out on people, so I'm going to do it. And I think in life, we do find ourselves in situations sometimes where, because we can, we think we should. And that's not always that's not always the right way. Like, yeah, you know what? We can do a lot of things, but doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Doesn't mean that we should do it. Although we might really want to make us feel good for 10 seconds. But in evaluating within ourselves, within the word, the counsel of other people around us.
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah. You wanna go with the third one?
Okay. Embrace entitlement until it takes what it wants and scoffs at your vows and values. Embrace entitlement? No, you take that one.
Okay. Again, so that relates to the second point.
Right.
Because Samson felt entitled to have whatever he wants.
So who's scoffing at your vows and values?
The entitlement. Your
entitlement is scoffing at your own.
Okay, so okay. by feeling entitled, you're telling your vows and your values, like, how, whatever. I don't have to obey my Nazareth vows.
Because look at me, I'm huge.
Yeah. Okay. I'm entitled to this. Yeah. And I think entitlement is a very big thing in our society nowadays. We feel very entitled to a lot of things. And because of that entitlement, we neglect other important things in life. We neglect relationships. We neglect being kind because we feel we're entitled. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? If I'm going to a store and I'm buying something, I don't have to be nice to anyone in there. I'm entitled to this. It's my right. Yeah. And it's like, no, everyone's still human. Let's try to be kind or, you know, whatever.
Yep. Get off your high horse.
Yeah.
Last one. I can take the last one.
Okay.
So it's about a pitfall of relying on your own strength and overestimating your ability to cope with evil. So that's kind of letting your pride and your self-assessment kind of be like, yeah, I got this. I can do this on my own. I can do anything on my own. No, you probably can't. You can do a lot of things on your own. A lot of people can, and good for you. But, you know, rely on people, rely on, you know, your faith, rely on your relationships, rely on your loved ones, and, you know, face those things together.
It takes a village, guys. It takes a village. No man's an island.
It takes a village?
Yeah.
I know, to raise a child. I'm just kidding.
And no man is an island.
There's no I in team.
There's no I in team. We can throw out so many things at you guys here, clearly. We're getting a bit corny.
A nose that smells the whispers in the wind.
Here you go again, being crazy.
Anyway, so that is week number 8.
Yes.
We will be back next week with week number 9, which is Ruth.
Yes. So,
Baby Ruth.
In the meantime, I encourage you guys to really try to take a moment to assess your character when dealing with your gifts and talents, because they are gifts. You're not entitled to them in a way. Like, it's a gift. It's not something that you worked for. You're just blessed with the ability to sing. You're just blessed with the ability to talk to people. Mm-hmm. It's a gift. So try to sharpen your character and use those gifts in the best possible way to help others to be positive and to live an exemplary life that's not just about yourself.
Yeah, that's better for all.
Yeah. So that's the lesson this week, and we will see you guys with Ruth.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Let us know any comments you have. See ya. Bye.